hey there. You know what? We're gonna change this. Let me go ahead and change this real quick. Edit the name. I'm gonna call it just a Friday Q&A because y'all are gonna ask me questions. One of these days, y'all are going to ask me questions. Oh my gosh. It's the way that my Instagram just, died on me again. Let's see. Hold on. There's not even like a bicycle in the picture. What do you it's insane. Next. No, my Instagram just kind of, it said no. That's insane. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Poor Insta. Insta's is not doing what Insta's supposed to do today. We're gonna have to pray for Instagram, because Instagram has decided it can't do what it needs to do. What did I say? I said we're gonna talk about surrender and flow and shadow and alignment. That's what we're talking about today. That's what I have. I actually have a topic today. I'm excited by it. Let's see what happens. If I can make this work. One moment, please hold. I mean, it says I'm streaming, but I don't understand how. But we're gonna stream this one now this time and make it work. Because I don't know. It says I'm streaming. I don't ever get to see how it does. I don't ever get to see it. But you know what? We're gonna go with it. It says I'm streaming now. There we go. I think I did it. I am a computer genius. That is it. I'm a technical genius. I'm just gonna go with it. Welcome everybody. We are on Friday. We have made it to Friday. Let me turn this off because you know what? They always want to call. They always want to call right when I'm on. Okay. We've made it to Friday. I'm happy to be here. I've accomplished. I feel accomplished this week. This week, hold on, let me fix this. Okay, yeah. This week I'm feeling accomplished. And I hope that, you come through with your accomplishments. I am ready for the accomplishment version of whatever we're going through. I'd be happy with just one whole live stream where we just all come on and just all talk about our accomplishments. I'd be here for it. I'd be like, yes, definitely. So that's not today though. So that's not today though. I don't know when that will be. We're going to have to schedule it. All right. So I'm Asia. Dr. Asia, if you're feeling freaky. And what I'm doing today is the live Q&A for several reasons. I have some courses. People take the courses and they like to, ask some questions. I like to just answer those questions because they came up in a course, which is the case today. And then people have questions on live or I posted something on any of my socials and then they're like, no, what were you talking about? Because that didn't make any sense to me. I'm here to answer those questions too. So I will answer some questions if they come up. If you have a question, you can just chat it to me and I will answer it. I don't remember seeing, I was literally just in the Instagram and I did not see any questions in my DMs. You can always email me a question also if that makes sense to you, and my email is somewhere there in a profile wherever you're watching this. I'm also going to say hey to anybody who watches this in the future welcome. Please let me know what the future is like. Like, just be like, hey, I watched and we didn't make it through that last apocalypse. Whatever it is, let me know, okay? So let me know if this ages well. If it doesn't age well, let me know. Because I really don't go back and watch these afterwards. I kind of just like, I send them out. I'm just like, okay, let me throw it all out there. I throw it out there and then it's done. I don't even go back and watch them. I was told that I should probably go back and watch them and then change the description so that way it aligns more with what we actually talked about during this, and that maybe that would help people to find the information. I'm not there yet. I don't know how to do that because I am one person. I'm a solopreneur, and I kind of just move forward. I would have to, maybe when, like summer comes up and, I have this, tech genius kid of mine, and maybe I can get them to go in and do it. Like, I probably have to, pay some type of hefty bounty for such actions. But, I'm going to do it. Like, maybe I can do that over the summer. I have like 3 days left. I think we got like 3 days left of school. And after that, people are going to be bored. So maybe I can provide that as a form of entertainment and maybe knock that out on my list. I'll think about it. But until then, I don't watch these back. Okay. I sit here, I talk, I'll answer questions. And then I kind of just like leave it to the past. Like, I dumped it and then I go. That's what I do. And today I actually did have a topic because I've been, I started reading this book, You Are the One. I wrote it down. Hold on. I did. I wrote it down because I started reading this book called You Are the One. By Kurt Blackson. And he has this like amazing story where, he's living in, I think it was Ghana. He's living in Ghana, and his father is a healer type of, like in Christian, right? Like, so they're in like these, healer churches and, get up and walk and type stuff, right? And he spends his, whole life pretty much just seeing healing happen. Never had a question about it, really. It was always just healing happens, miracles happen. Never questioned it, right? Just imagine like you've grown up in this, situation where like there's no question, miracles happen, throw some sand in your eyes and now you can see type stuff. And he's like seeing this stuff and he's like, whoa, okay, cool. And then he becomes like a minister, like some like teenage years or something, but then he decides that's not what he wants to do. Like, that's not his calling. You know what I mean? That's not what he is aligned to do. So it creates some crazy rifts in his family, and he's still doing coaching, spiritually aligned work. It's very, conscious business type stuff that he's doing. It's just not in that church, doing those same type of, using the same type of schematics that, his father used. And, so there was like this falling out with his father. He's out of it with his father. He moves to the United States because that's where he says where all of the healer types, the Deepak Chopra and Marianne Williamson, whatever he says, that's where they all were, And so he's like, I'm moving to LA because that's where I need to be in order to get my message heard. And I'm like, wow, cool. Great story. Anyway, so I heard about him. I found him somewhere. Anyway, I found him somewhere and I'm like, that's awesome. I need more of this in my life. Anyway, and I found his book, the You Are the One book, and, started reading it. and very inspiring. And that's pretty much what I do, is I kind of just like find things, I read them, I study them, and I, get in on them, like, what is this? How do we feel about this type stuff? And then I bring it. So that's where we are. But before I started really getting in on his book, I started thinking about like, how are we, and by we, sometimes it could just be the queens we, like me. How am I, let's say, how am I handling my wounds, right? Or how are you handling your wounds? Or how are they handling their wounds, right? Like, what are we doing with our wounds? How are we using them or aligning with them or growing from them? Because I don't think that we are, right? I had this whole situation this week, and it's crazy because I was in like this strange dark world kind of a place where so many things just kind of get peeled back. So many layers get peeled back. And I sit in like this feeling, this like this essence of, what am I supposed to be learning? What is supposed to be happening? And what do I need in order to get out of this? Right? And I used to not be that way. It used to not be where I would ask that type of a question. Like, it used to be for me, and, it's probably, for most of us, right? Where shit starts happening and then we're like, oh no, oh me, oh my, it's happening to me, and why? That kind of a thing. And I don't know if it's because, like, when I was brought up in like religious, Southern Baptist type way, and honestly, I have no problems with Southern Baptist type way. If that works for you, it works for you. Okay. But it was this idea of the outside, right? God outside, with no interaction from me. Like, there's nothing I can do. There's God, and then there's me. Okay. There's some type of disconnect in between there. And then, depending on, what religious preference you pick, there's the intercessions in between, like, you and God. Okay. And there's nothing you can do, right? There's nothing you can say, you have no real, say in it. And I think that kind of transfers over, like, when you get into adulthood and you're like, oh no, this is happening to me. Why is God letting this happen to me? Type situations. Or, I can't believe this is happening to me. What, there's nothing I can do. I can wait for, insert your deity there to, hey, Emma, to fix it, and it's kind of a troubling mindset for me, and it's not how I personally align right now. And then, you have on the other end where it's like, I've created this situation. I am the soul architect type thing. You know what I mean? There's two, extremes there, right? You can go from all me, all I, that, that ego driven, right, to, the all whatever is out there that you're believing in, that is driving everything. I'm somewhere in the middle. I feel as like a co-creator. Like, let's discuss where we're trying to go. You know what I mean? Let me input, y'all input. We're going to figure this out, and we're going to move forward. We're going to see what happens. So that's kind of where I am, without too many details, because the details don't really matter, because really it's like what helps you sleep at night. In the same vein, is it like what's helped me sleep at night? You know what I mean? But that's where we are. But within all of that, we kind of go through these instances, these experiences, and they're harsh. They are traumatic, wounding type experiences that we go through, right? And then it's like, how do you handle that experience? And what I'm seeing is that how you handle that experience is how you move forward. It's kind of like training and um, actual competition, right? Like we don't really see like the training parts. We're kind of just seeing life is the competition, right? You're just all in the competition, right? But we know these are like trainings, right? These are practices, right? That things that we're going through that um, we're to gather some type of something from. And you can say, you know what? Fuck this. I'm done. I don't like any of this no more. Screw you, screw you, screw you. You're good. You know, you're okay. Screw you. And like cut everything off and not learn anything from it. Or there are other options, right? And so today I'm just going to present another option for the idea of growing through a wound, right? And I did not prepare no slides. I didn't prepare no slides, okay? This is pretty much, I wrote down some notes and then that's it. Because we were talking about this in a class, and I happen to have written a book, uh, I'm, you know, I feel like I've been through some shit, and maybe that is why I'm at this level of being able to say more about it. I don't know. It's the Huckhuck. Well, hey, how you doing? Maybe that's what it is. Okay, so I can give you a little bit of backstory, if that helps. There were a couple of marriages, right? There was a high school pregnancy, right? There was a period of time where I moved out as, a young mother, okay, across the country to pretty much hang out in the wilderness of Killeen, Texas, um, pretty much on my own, okay, with a couple of kids. So, there was that. Um, there were some great moments as well, some graduations. I've gotten some great experience just touching all different parts of like government, working in, that area, like in a government job, um then comes COVID, of course, and then my son is killed, and then I am helping my grandmother transition, as her death doula. Um, and then I kind of end up in my dark night period. And then I kind of emerge from my dark night period. So I would say that's a quick and dirty of it all. Um, I feel like we do all have something that we work through, and I feel like the wounds that I am working through, me personally, are those that are helping me in my capacity to be able to help others. Okay. So, like I tell people, I had a whole conversation with somebody. I was playing the bowls, and afterwards, we're talking, and she's like, "You do not look like you have a son who departed." And I told her, it's amazing. You'd be amazed at how many people don't look like what they have experienced, which is why I just treat everybody in the mindset that we've all experienced something, you know? But no, If I don't look like it, it's because I feel personally like I've been working through it, and I've been aligning with the lessons, the journey that I'm supposed to go through. And so that is why I sit here now and, wanted to discuss this with you, whoever you are out there, who happens to see this. Okay. Um, that being said, I might say something that just doesn't resonate with you. That's any day, all day, whatever. Okay, you just take that, whatever I said, you just chuck it in the fucking bucket, right? Say, no, that's not for me. Okay. I'm not here to ever persuade you that you should be doing anything. Okay. That's not how I work. Also, you're not going to come back to me later on and tell me that I told you to do something, because I never did. Okay. I've never told anybody ever to do anything. I just present an option and say, hey, maybe take it, think about it, and see how it resonates, see if it aligns, see if it's something that you may want to consider. Like, in audit world, that was like, in audit world, when we're writing a report and we're like, they're not going to take this recommendation. Like, I can already tell, like, I already knew there were some recommendations nobody was going to take, even though they were logically sound, they made sense. And from the perspective of efficiency or effectiveness, they were going to get you on point. I already knew they were not going to take these recommendations. But to save myself, pretty much, to save face as an auditor, having written this 40-page report with all of these, criteria and everything that, had to go into the report, and then to say, I'm going to give you a recommendation, which is pretty much what auditors do. We would just give recommendations for an entity to follow. And, if you follow these recommendations, the idea is that you're going to then be in alignment. Okay. I am now just pretty much an auditor for the spiritual, soulful realms here. Let's consider it like that. All right. I'm just giving you recommendations. And my recommendations typically will start with consider. Just consider it. Okay. And that's all I'm trying to say. Just consider it. All right. Because the thing is that, like, I was listening to Kute Blackson. He was talking about pretty much the same thing that I was experiencing and thinking about, and I was like, confirmation, like alignment, like, yes, here for it, right? Yes. So that's where we are now. Okay. So that's pretty much what happened. Okay. Backstory done. If you missed the backstory, you're just going to have to go back on the replay. The replay is always on YouTube. I'm always Asia Stormborn everywhere, but on YouTube, I'm Asia Stormborn. All of the lives that I do are all on YouTube. Okay. I kind of chop up some and like disperse them on different places, but honestly, the YouTube channel is where all the lives go. It's where all of my reviews go. It's where you can find most reviews on my decks, readings, courses, whatever. Okay, it's all there. And then the Creatrix Academy is where I am hoping that you'll join me. It's an invitation. Join me in the Creatrix Academy, especially if you're a creative, you're working on something, you have a project, or you're an empath and you just realize this, like you're a highly sensitive person, or you're an empath and you're like, I don't understand this ability that I have to be able to gather information from other people and from my environment. Like, what is this, right? Join me in the Creatrix Academy. That's where I am. That's where we are. We're learning, growing, doing, feeling, figuring, alchemizing. That's where we're at. Okay. So that is all of that. Now, let's talk about this surrender and flow. Okay. I want to say that it starts with the idea of an actual an acknowledgement, an awakening, right? Um, because we kind of walk around in an ignorant state, right? We have no idea that either something has happened that has changed us, or we've decided we don't care that it's changed us, or that it happened. We're going to just ignore it and move forward. Okay. And the reason that I ended up thinking in this way is because on all of this, it all circles back. On Wednesday, on Wednesday, I was, you know what? Hold on, let me, because I do I want people to know that they can. Hold on. All right, let's see what happens. Anyway, on Wednesday, I went to what is called a Compassionate Friends. And Compassionate Friends is a group that was created for people who have lost their children. Okay. So if you're watching this and you've maybe lost your child at some point recently, years ago, you know, whatever, and you're like trying to figure out how to work through that, Compassionate Friends is there. We're just basically the club nobody ever wants to join, but it's a group of caring, compassionate friends. And we are pretty much, we work through talking, you know, the process of the grieving after losing your child, which it's a grief, it's a trauma that is not like, I mean, every trauma is different, but it's uh it's a heart trauma that is one that it does not like go away. You know what I mean? Um, you don't, you just come out the other side different. There's no way for you to be on your path, have the loss of a child, okay, and still consider on the same path, to still continue on this path. There's no way possible, okay? You can be on your path, whatever that path is. It really doesn't matter. Honestly, it has, nobody cares what this path was at this point, right? Because once this thing happens where you've lost your child, your path, you basically get like a split. I don't know if you've seen like where you get like a split, and you get so many different options for how you are going to work through, handle, or ignore, or hide from, or escape this trauma, this, you know, particular trauma. Any of those paths, you're not going to end up back at the same spot. So it just is, it just is what it is. Okay. But this woman was there at the meeting, and her child had passed away about 3 weeks ago. And me remembering where I was at week 3 of my issue there, of my process, of my grief after losing my child, and um, what I saw, how I felt, what I was going through, where I was, I was like, okay, you know, that's, you know, that's what I try to do. When people tell their story, I try to put myself, um, remember where I was, you know. Anyway, this woman who lost her child was, or is, pretty much not allowed to sit, because of the job that she does. So she's not allowed to just sit um, and figure things out, um, or contemplate or reflect. Um, She's just not allowed to. She can't. And so seeing her in that, it really reminded me of like how many of us are just like on these paths where a trauma happens. And it doesn't have to be you lost your child. It can be any trauma, any soul wound. Okay. It happens. And then we're somehow just not able, not allowed, not for whatever reason, we just can't take the time to sit in the path, to feel, to get the sensations, to to do the things I'm about to tell you about, to get to that next level. For whatever reason, work comes up, you decide, no, that's it, there's an ending, you say you can't go on yourself, whatever the reason is. Okay. And then you don't go through these steps. Okay. But it happens for so many different things, not just like a loss of a child or a loss of a mother or a loss, of someone. Okay. So just take that as what I'm speaking about right now is not just on like heavier things, but just in general, because we are all going through something at any point in our life. Okay. And sometimes we don't take it in. We don't feel it, process it, move it forward. You know what I mean? So we get to this part where we're kind of in an ignorance stage, right? We're not really aware of the actual impact. We're kind of like, fuzzy in on it. Okay, then you get to your awareness. Okay, so awareness is going to be that first step, right? Where we're just like, okay, I'm aware now. Bruh, this has happened. Okay. And during this awareness, for me, if I were going to give any type of advice, it would be to have compassion for yourself as you come into this awareness, okay? Because you did not know what you did not know, okay? And coming into this awareness phase, it can feel kind of jolting, or kind of like a jolting kind of experience, right? I'm just giving you permission to have compassion for yourself during this awareness, all right? Because you go from everything is fine, I'm okay, to wait, is there something wrong? Right? So now you're like kind of questioning what is wrong, like what has happened, like how can I, what can I, whatever. You kind of get into the questioning phase of it all, and you start like kind of fact finding, and I need as much information as I can get sometimes, and let me figure this out, right? And then you're kind of in like, oh hell, the fuck, right? This is where I'm at. What can I do to make it different? I don't like this feelings. What can I do to make them different? How can I stop them? What if I tried this? How about if I did that instead? Maybe if I would just do blah, blah, blah. If I drink this quart, this pint, this quart, if I drink this pint, maybe I should be working more. How about if I just, run off into another undisclosed location so that way nobody can find me, type things. Okay. You're kind of like in that negotiating, let me figure this out by, and if I do this, can this happen, type of a situation. It's like, once you've, figured out that that's not going to work. And honestly, a lot of it is like, wherever you are, there you are, right? Running away from something just kind of, prolongs it, if that makes sense. And I say this especially like with people who are, working through like maybe like a drug addiction, or like a lot of things pains can turn people to towards, a drug addiction or alcoholism, some type of addiction, because then you're going to basically negotiate out, I'm going to do this instead. What if I do this instead? What if I drink this instead? What if I take this instead? What if I decide this is a better way so that I don't have to feel this? What if this makes me not feel this, right? But you're basically just prolonging it, right? That's just, the truth of the matter. Until eventually you get to this point of, fuck it, it is what it is, right? Sometimes we then think that we got into the, it is, right? Right, it is, right? It just what it is, um, and it is what it is acceptance kind of portion of it can feel final. It can feel like that's it, like I've done it, I'm at the end, right? But there's like maybe 3 more steps, maybe 4 that you could possibly do, to because it's not acceptance, I think, that is where we're going. And this is the part that Kutea Blackson mentions that had me like, yo, that's the thing, right? It's that acceptance is cool, right? You get there and you're like, all right, I'm here, I'm at acceptance, right? But there's like a whole process that happens between acceptance and surrender, right? And it's like you're accepting it as it is what it is, right? But surrender is when you get to the, how can I grow from whatever it is, right? So acceptance is, it is, hey Rollo, acceptance is, it is what it is. And then surrender is opening up to the growth part that's going to happen after your acceptance, right? And so, Mr. Blackson says, yeah, in between acceptance and surrender is this grief thing, right? And that made so much sense to me, because when I'm helping someone work through grief, there are like those processes that happen, right? The liberation, the was it like your awakening, and then you're tearing apart, like a detachment or liberation, that new, like after detachment, then there's like a new realignment with putting the pieces back together, and then kind of like you wake into this rebirthed version, right? So those like 4 spots that happen, those are the steps in between acceptance and surrender. And I did not realize until I started, on this adventure this week, right, that, I mean, it made sense after he said it, after I heard him say it. But yes, you've accepted something is what it is, and you could stop there. You could totally stop there and just say, okay, this is where we're going to stand. I'm at it is what it is. Or, like I said, consider growing. Where can I learn? What are the lessons that I need to figure out the answers to? How can I be a better version of this human that I am after these things happen? You thought I wasn't going to make it back all the way to the beginning, right? You thought that there wasn't going to be a close on this circle. And, I did it. Okay. We are 40 minutes in, and I feel like that's a good place to stop with it. But I will go over some more like later on in life. Okay. We're talking about this inside of the Creatrix Academy. I do have, like I said, I wrote a little ebook on it. But the ebook was basically just my 4 steps, going from grief to growth. But I did not see my 4 steps as a bigger picture until I opened my mind up to the idea of what Mr. Blackson was talking about. And that's why reading, and that's why experiencing, and that's why talking to other people, and that's why being out there and gathering, it works for me. But that's why that's how we synergize, right? Take mine, take yours, let's put it all together, right? You put it all together, you synergize, and you make something bigger. And I'm like, yes. Okay, so anyway, that's that. I was excited by that. It's the idea of you can accept, you can stay, and then or or you can accept, or you can grow. And by growing is when you get to that surrender portion. Surrender is when you open up yourself to the next level, that next version of what's going to make you better, of how you're going to transform or rebirth or reemerge. That's when it happens. It happens in surrender. It's not going to happen at any of them other previous steps. Here for it. Anyway, that being said, I am going to go ahead and do one card pull, and then I've got to go. Apparently, I am surrendering to the timeline of the school district, which means that I have to go and pick up my child. So that is that, yeah, so the book is called From Grief to Growth. And oh wait, we don't need that card either. Okay, cool. Yeah, the book is called From Grief to Growth, and I basically take the 4 steps, and I've talked about this 4 steps also in a video. It's on my YouTube channel called working through the dark night of the soul. So if you've been you're going through, or you've been through your dark night of the soul, then it could resonate for you. I lost my card. I feel like a card fell. Oh yeah, there it is. One sec. All right, there we are. The message is give. One of the best feelings we can experience is giving to others. When we do so, we feel lifted up and our lives improve greatly because of someone else's happiness. Think of one way you can give to another today. I'm going to make that the message today, okay? Give. There you go. That was the message. It was give. I can come back on Monday, and since I didn't do it today, I'll do 4, I'll pull more on Monday. But yeah, I do have to go because, school system and blah, blah, whatever. If you enjoyed anything that you saw today, if anything resonated with you, please feel free to follow me or like this or share this. Find me on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook. I'm Asia Stormborn everywhere. If you have any questions, you want to talk more about this, the idea of acceptance versus surrender, and working through the gap that happens between acceptance and surrender. You want to talk about that because it does involve the shadow work that I mentioned before. It's kind of pivotal. It's kind of imperative. You're pretty much not going to get from one step to the next without taking those, doing that work. And it's kind of, you got to go through it. Okay. The only way out is through. And I keep saying that. The only way out is through. Okay. You think that you're avoiding, you're not. You're basically just prolonging until the next time. Okay. That being said, I'm still Asia, the Soulful Creatrix. I have enjoyed taking this time with you, and I am grateful for the idea that you would have even come through. And if you're seeing this at this point right now, the idea that you spent this time with me and working through the process, like I said, I am totally grateful Totally open to the idea. Leave me a comment to let me know that you made it this far. I'd be happy with that. It'll make me smile if you do. No worries if you don't, but I'd be happy if you do. Anyway, until next time, I'm wishing you nothing but love, and peace, and many continued blessings.